Testing 1, 2. Testing. Testing 1, 2. Behill. Okay, good. All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this much anticipated book launch and signing event featuring two remarkable authors, Mrs. Nashida White Ballantyne and Mrs. Karen Charles de Freitas. Please give them a round of applause. I am Dr. Risa Noel McBarnett, Head of Science at the UWI, the University of the West Indies Global Campus, here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I have the honor of serving as the Mistress of Ceremonies for this splendid occasion, the 7th edition of the University of the West Indies Global Campus, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and the Vincentian Association of Artists, Writers, and Producers, Inc., Literary Fair and Performing Arts Festival, book launch, and book signing. It is a privilege to facilitate what promises to be an inspiring gathering, bringing together authors, readers, and supporters of the arts. Events like these not only provide a platform for new voices in literature, but also foster a sense of community among those who appreciate the written word. Mrs. Nashida White Ballantyne will launch her highly anticipated book, Between Diapers and Degrees. In her work, she delves into the intricate balancing act, that many women face in the modern world, managing the demands of family life while pursuing academic and professional ambitions, and the list goes on. Her storytelling weaves together personal experiences and relatable anecdotes that resonate with a broad audience, particularly parents and students. Nashida's journey is one of resilience, determination, and the pursuit of her dreams, making her narrative both uplifting and empowering. Attendees, ladies and gentlemen, you can look forward to insights from her experiences that go beyond the pages of her book, as she engages with readers directly through our book launch and book signing. Complementing this wonderful launch is Mrs. Karen Charles de Freitas, who will present her book, Little Girl in a Pretty Dress. Karen's work offers a reflection on childhood innocence and the complexities of growing up. Through her beautifully crafted prose, she explores themes of identity and self-discovery, capturing moments that resonate with audiences of all ages. Little Girl in a Pretty Dress uplifts the imagination and encourages readers to cherish the beauty and challenges of growing up. Karen's journey into writing stems from a deep-seated passion for storytelling, and her book is a testament to her creativity and her dedication. Please give both authors a round of applause. I would also like to recognize at this point One News, SVG. Yes, we have representation from One News, and I'm highlighting them because they amplify the work of these two authors in their online publication. So that is how we learn about these these authors and their works. So then we sent invitations to them to participate, and they readily, there was no lapse in time, agreed to be here with us, and Mrs. Charles de Freitas is here with us from New York City. So we're very happy to have both of them. Give them another round of applause. All right, so this is how we're going to proceed. We're going to give each author their time to shine. We're going to start with Mrs. Nashida White Ballantyne. She would, of course, introduce herself. She will talk about the story behind the book. I hope you have your programs. And she'll also offer an excerpt from her work, and she will talk a bit about that as well. So, and then you will have an opportunity to ask her questions, after which we will have Mrs. Karen Charles de Freitas, who would also follow the same format in terms of the programming, after which you will also have an opportunity to ask questions, the big ask, about the work, about the journey. And then at the So after the book launch, and yes, good afternoon, I am pleased to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Israel Bruce, Minister of Agriculture, etc. Thank you so much for joining us. It is an honor and a pleasure to have you here with us. And just at the start, very good. Okay, so after which, followed by the book launch, we will have the book signing, which will take place at the back of the room where we have 2 tables set up, one for each author. So I take this opportunity to welcome to the podium the ever lovely, talented, and everything in one, ambitious, resilient Nashida White Ballantyne. Come up, my dear.
Good day, everybody. I trust that we're in a good mood and we're going to have a lovely evening, right? Good. So, for those of you that don't know me, I carry a myriad of titles. I'm a daughter. I love my mom so much. And also, I'm a daughter of the Lord as well. We must always remember that. I'm a sister. I love my sister dearly. It's in the book. I'm a wife and a mother of a whole hand. 5. I don't look so right? No. Okay, well, let's get into the meat of the matter about the author. So I am Nashida White Ballantyne. I am a registered nurse for 12 years. I'm a mother and the owner of a small business. I recently penned my memoir, Between Diapers and Degrees, and this celebrates my fruitful journey balancing family, career, and entrepreneurship. So my professional background, I have been employed with the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines from 2014 to now. I'm a registered nurse, and I started in the NICU, pediatric ward, and the PCCU. I then moved to male surgical ward, then female surgical ward, then Lewis Punnett home. So I have dealt with the babies straight through the geriatric. At Lewis Punnett home, it was a bit different. You know, the workload is not that much. So I started my degree with the University of West Indies, Cayfield, my master's in nursing education. At that point, I really wanted to be a nurse educator. However, that has changed. Nursing is something that is very fluid, and we have to sometimes roll with the tide, right? So I now work in infection control units, and I am now pursuing another degree in infection control, another master's. And this is how this came about. Because between those 2 degrees, I was very bored. And I had to find something to do. So I wrote a book. Right? Yes, I wrote a book. Right? So between Diapers and Degrees, they share raw stories of Caribbean motherhood and amid studies, pregnancies, Caribbean life, and business, proving having it all is possible through perseverance, prayer, and small joys. So I am from Union Island, and I credit my family, including my parents, for my drive. This marked the key milestones in my journey. My mother, she never failed to tell me how much she's proud of me. And she would have written a book as well, and she guided me on how to pursue this milestone. My husband, his drive and perseverance is just different. And he served as a great example to me and my children as well. So my story is to inspire women. I am not a superwoman. We can all make it. So Between Diapers and Degrees is a heartfelt memoir that chronicles the multifaceted life as a registered nurse, mother of 5, university student, and business owner. The narrative explores pursuing advanced nursing education amid pregnancies and family demands, with online learning adaptation, and support from partner, relatives, and spiritual practices. As I mentioned, God is very important. He's imperative in everything that we do. So my daily routines, they go from hurried mornings, preparing. I have 3 toddlers, you know. 3 in preschool. Yes, 3 in preschool. And people sometimes wonder how I do it. You have to know how to compartmentalize your life. Work stays at work, home stays at home unless it's an emergency. I don't take my work at home unless it's something that is pressing, and then they would call me. Because the department that I work in, I would sometimes have to run. But my husband understands these roles, and we learn how to section everything off in order for everything to be successful. But when it comes to me now, my time is my time. So when I have to go chai bar with my girlfriend, or brunch on Sunday with my other girlfriends, or my pedicure, he know it's his time with the kids. And this is what this book is about. Self-care is non-negotiable. My time is my time. Children time is children time. School time is school time. So the key takeaways, I champion grace over perfection. Nobody is perfect, and I always say this. I'm not perfect, and I do not intend to be perfect. One person is perfect, and that is Jesus Christ. I prove, that having a job, a side hustle, degrees, brunches, and the family reels that we see on IG and TikTok, you could have it too. Because behind all those perfect reels and captions, guess what? They have challenge in life just like all of us. Don't make the media fool you. And this book is not about perfection. You will see all the hurdles, the challenges, all the skips and all the wet bed I have to go through, all the flow breaking down and the assignments to go in, 11:59 and the Wi-Fi just going so and so. All those challenges. It's not me alone have them, you have them, everybody have them. Nobody life is perfect. And this book basically shows that everything that I would have gotten, you can get as well. Thank you. Any questions? I think I know what question is coming.
What made you want to become vulnerable like this?
My whole life is vulnerability. I got pregnant in Upper Six, community college. And the looks that I got, I had depression, I had suicidal thoughts, and I did something that I never wanted to do. That has made my mother cry. And I say, I'm going to make mommy proud. So when all my friends went off to Cuba to be doctors, well, I can't go because I have a young baba. So I sent out 72 applications because truth be told, I didn't want to be a nurse, even though mommy told me. I saw nursing as something that was mediocre to being a doctor, which was my true love. However, you have a child. You have to boss up. So I applied to nursing school, and I came first for Ariana. That's the regional exam.
Great.
However, guess what happened while I was doing Ariana? Another baby. He's going to grammar school now. Right? And no, two. Yes, right? Yes, I had that other baby. He's going to grammar school. So it's always vulnerable situations, and I have to show myself that despite these challenges, I am going to get what I want to be.
What do you think other people would learn from your experience? Because, like they say, experience is the greatest teacher. So what do you expect others to learn from your story?
Well, I expect women to see that a baby is not a full stop. A baby should push you to do better, because you would want to be an example to your child, won't you? Yes. You don't want your child to say, okay, well, mommy had me and she stopped there. Let them see that you could boss up. Let them see that you set the standard for them to overcome, yes. Because my mom actually did her degree while my sister and I were already in tertiary education, and we had to surpass that. Yes, every generation should try to be better than the previous one.
Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations. I'm looking forward to reading your work.
Thank you.
And I want to ask you if your mom is with us today on the face of the earth.
She is here. She is, but she was really ill, so I'm asking you all to keep her in prayer, please.
Okay, yeah, I'll keep her in my prayers. And the quick question, just a quick one. I'm wondering how you dealt with editing with your work, and for the younger ones who want to get into writing especially, editing is a very dicey thing. So how did you manage? I'll leave it there.
It is, but I have always been somebody who loved to write. I used to write poems before, so I'm always writing. And in terms of wanting to, I don't like to use the word perfectionist in terms of my work, because as I said, nobody's perfect. But I did everything on my book. I did the front page, I did the back page, I did the writing, I did the editing, everything. Because when I sent it to the printing place, they told me that they would not be able to edit it. I have to edit it myself. So I played around with the internet, looking. Everything is on the internet, looking at how to do certain things. Everything is on TikTok. I tend to use social media to grow. I mean, persons, they don't play social media, but you could learn so much from social media. And social media has made me grow in nursing, my side business, my parenting, even writing this book, social media has helped. So just look for ways and, means of on the internet, and you would find it. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you so very much. Good afternoon to everyone. First of all, Miss, so Weeks Valentine, I saw?
White.
White Valentine. Okay. You look like a black Valentine to me. Anyways, that was just the funny side. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you on your achievement at this very tender age. I'm proud of the work that you have done because it has been done in a particular context. My question to you, though, is approximately how many hours did you put into this production?
To be honest, that would be hard to tabulate because with my very active life,
Yes.
I tend to start things, even my assignments, I tend to start things and then go back and then go back and then go back. So, probably over the span of 4 months because I had other things happening.
4 months.
Yes. I did not want to start school and still have this doing. So I graduated last year from KFL and I started Essex the same October. So while I was waiting on school, I wanted to finish this. I had no assignments, so.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. I trust that you'd be an inspiration to many others of us who wish one day would have a book authored by us. I've already known by now the name of my book. It's called The Journey. I've just not started to write it as yet.
Let's start.
Thank you. Thank you.
Or might I add to? You see, when you're writing true life experiences, it's much easier to write because I'm not lying. These are things that actually happening in my life daily, all now. And with the children acting up something, I say I may have to do a part two.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out and being a part of this grand event. To add to what you just stated, question: are you looking to make it a film or short film or a series? This would be so good for Vincentian women, especially. I do short film if you want us to collaborate. We could do that and make it into something so that, Vincentian women could see that, hey, this is an everyday thing. It's not Superwoman, Wonder Woman. Yeah, we're Wonder Woman, come on, but it's reality. So
Yeah.
think about it, making it into a series or a movie.
Sounds nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, good idea. No, I wouldn't be acting. Any more questions, anybody? Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Nashida. And I'm going to read some excerpts. No, that's okay. From your work. I'm a teacher at heart. I'm a trained educator. That's how I started out in the classroom. My master's in education focused a lot on children's literature, so writing and on all the rest of it. My own personal writing, I'm like minister. The journey has not started, but I do. Yes, it's yes. And according to Minister Jackson last night, it's in my head. Okay, so on page 3. Um, we give and give, constantly pouring ourselves into everyone else, our kids, our partners, our jobs, our communities. But who pours into us? It took me a long time to understand that self-care isn't some luxury reserved for women with free time and no responsibilities. It is a necessity, especially for women like us as well. If we burn out, who is going to hold it all together? That is why I created this little book. It is my love letter to every mama who is doing all the things and feeling overwhelmed. It is a reminder that you are not alone and that your well-being matters. I have packed it with tips, encouragement, and real talk from someone who is in the trenches right alongside you. This book is also a testament to something bigger, that you can have it all. You can do it all. That dream job, that certificate, that brunch with the girls, that life you see on the reels, you can have it all. With a little faith, perseverance, and balance, your dreams are still within reach. And I note in your work that you credited your family. You have a support system. You have a strong support system, which you referenced in your presentation. So that really helps. And I love the tips that you gave at the end of each chapter. So when she says, she keeps saying real, and I want to be real, it is real, because she's sharing what worked for her. So give Nasheed another round of applause, please. And I am inspired. Okay, so I welcome now to the podium Mrs. Karen Charles de Freitas, and she is going to make her presentation to us, not only about her work, a little girl in a pretty dress, but you also have a little talk to give us about the importance of literacy to our youths. Thank you so much. Come up, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. To the Honorable Israel Bruce, my mentee. When he just started teaching, I was one of his mentors, and I'm so proud of him. Sir, congratulations. Thank you for coming. To Ms. Risa Noel McBarnett, Head of Site, thank you so much for this opportunity. For everyone else who is here, I really appreciate your presence. I thank you for coming. Mr. Game, it's nice to see you. Marilyn Ballantyne, we are forming a bond to do work together. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm going to read about Karen from the eyes of someone who passed. This is my first book, Shadows in the Shade. It was published by Authors House in 2016. I've known Karen Charles de Freitas for over 30 years. We both started our teaching career in St. Vincent and the Grenadines while still in our early teens. We lived in neighboring communities. Karen has always had a strong command of the English language. Her many stories and perfect speech give testimony to the fact. I also discovered in her a seasoned and mature motivational speaker and writer. She always wanted to be a writer, bringing to print her vast experience with children in the classroom setting, love, life, and working with people in general. Her writing skills are known by many, and her readers glimpse life, love, and spirituality in these pages. Reading a piece of her thought-provoking work will cause you to be drawn irresistibly into the cadence of a love song with simplicity and style. It brings the rhythm of the Caribbean with its sun, sea, and laughter to the shores of the United States and ultimately into the hearts of the reader. This anthology of poems will transform transfer a warmth to you as it did to me. Your life will never be the same again if you allow the transferring power of the words to infect your very being. And this was written by the late Honorable Selman Walters, St. Vincent and the Grenadines counselor. Karen Charles was born and raised in Cedars, a little village on the Caribbean island chain of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As the 10th of 11 children, she grew up loving to read. Her father, an avid reader himself, introduced his children to books at an early age. He would buy books by the series or purchase encyclopedias to encourage thoughtful explorations. The many books she came across transported her to different worlds, allowing her mind to wander. This would develop into a passion for words, the final product being this compilation of poetry. That's Karen Charles. I'm a teacher, I'm an author, I'm an ordained minister, I'm a poet. And this all started because of this man named Alfie Charles. One of my nephews said to me this week, he called me Auntie C. He said, Auntie C, Alfie Charles would have been so proud of you if he was still alive. When I wanted to migrate to the United States, my father said one thing to me: you're not coming back here. Once you reach out there and see life, you're going to fly. Maybe he had something that I didn't know, but he gave me something that I really appreciate, the love of reading. My father, like I said, was an avid reader. He read and he bought books for us to read, and so my love for reading and literacy began there. When I started to teach at Greg's, I was 16 years old, and I remember during lunchtime, I would get a black and white notebook and I would write. And I would write, whether it was poem or whether it was stories or what, I would write and write. And do you know, I took that book to the United States, and one or two poems in this anthology were from that era. I kept writing, and I encouraged myself because one day I saw myself as a writer who was recognized, and I'm working towards that. One of these days you would hear me having the Pulitzer Prize or something, because that's what I aim to do. This little girl is every little girl who always wants to dress up. And like I said to people, I was the 11th of 12 children, the 4th girl, and so the idea of hand-me-downs was given to me. I wore a lot of it. I wore shoes that burned my heel. I wore clothes that was, I remember my mother cutting my father's pants that was too long and making skirts out of it for me. I had 2 dresses every year, one at Easter, one at Christmas. So the idea of this little girl wanting to dress up in pretty dress was always my idea. And when I wrote this book, I thought of every little girl who wanted to dress up. And that father who was there, he worked hard and he wanted to give back, and this was his way of dressing up his pretty little girl. And so this little girl had a father who was sailing, and mommy was home holding it down like many of us do. And so one day mommy got a letter and said daddy got in an accident and he was in a wheelchair and they would be sending him back home. Now this little girl wanted to know what would happen when daddy comes home. He's no longer working to buy those pretty dresses for me. Would he feel the same way about me? Would I feel the same way about him? And so it talks of family dynamics, of how changes can come in family. And so I want us not just to think of the little girl in the pretty dress, but think about how things change in our family and how we prepare our children for changes like that. Because children need to know that life is not always smooth, and it's not always, the bed of roses, but when changes come, because we know how to cope and know how to step around the obstacles, we can do better. Also with this book, I wrote 6 other books, and they talk about themes. Because I'm an educator, I think of the themes that would be more meaningful. And so we have themes of friendship, of camaraderie, of cleanliness, of anti-bullying, and these are the themes that we need to work into our reading department in the school. I also would like to share a little because over the years, I have noticed not just here in the Caribbean, but in the United States, how reading has been becoming quite a problem. And so as our lives become increasingly busy and tech-driven, our reading habits are changing in ways that significantly impact our cognitive development and cultural engagement. We no longer read books for pleasure. We read because we have an exam and we have to study. Gone are the days when children read. I remember as a child, I used to read so much that I was walking in the street, reading the Harley Quinn and the Nancy Drew and the Famous Five, and I would hear toot toot car behind me because I was dead in my book. This is how reading captivated me when I was young. I remember reading series of books in 1 week. I would go through sometimes 12 o'clock in the night. I'm still up. Karen, go to bed. I'm reading in the kerosene lamplight because it did something for me. It opened my mind. And so we have to let the generation know that reading is essential. Like my team said, reading is the foundation of education. And I said, if you want to be a scientist, you have to know how to read those formulas. If you want to be a geologist, you have to know how to read about all the different, you have to be able to read. And we're failing our children. Somehow we have dropped the ball and we're not doing what we ought to do to make them become those avid readers. And so older adults are reading, not young. As we retire, we find that as our second niche. We find books and we read. But the young children are not reading. The young generation, they're not reading because we decided we were going to buy them the phone and the iPad and everything else but the books. And so they are at a point where reading is very much a problem in the school. Once upon a time, researchers were interested only in who could read, how people learn to read, and what difference literacy made to socioeconomic development. Nowadays, the focus has shifted to reading as a social practice. Now the question is being asked, who reads? What do they read? How people read and how their reading relates to their other activities. The sociological act of reading is intellectually strong and expansive. It focuses on not what people read, but who reads, the cultural dynamics of readers. Children in the school system, they're the ones who read. Older adults who have, retired and want to occupy their time. How do culture, race, gender, class influence reading habit? How have we as a black race, as a Caribbean people, encourage our children to read? How access to books affects some cultural communities is the question they ask. How do children react to books? Does it come from where they come from? Is it a cultural thing that black children don't read? And that's the question being asked in some of the school system. Is it that these kids are not seeing their parents read, why they're not read? And I have come to realize over the years that that might be one of the problems, especially with us Caribbean folks. We don't have time because we're busy gaining the Benjis. And so we forget our children in part. We give them the key to get home because we are coming home 7 and 8 o'clock. So they get their key, latchkey kids, they go in, they open the door, and they sit in front of the TV or they sit in front of their tablets. Mommy don't come home and pick up a book and say, let's read. Daddy doesn't do it either. And so we have to encourage our society to become what we want our children to become. A strong association exists between parents' education and their children's print exposure, and this is so true. You know that term, children live what they learn? I say it all the time. If a child sees you reading, he would want, why is mommy always reading? Maybe I should pick up a book. And so we need to encourage parents to read to their children, whether they themselves are avid reader or even scholarly. We just celebrated the World Book Day, among other purposes. It is a day for the celebration of reading, and I was so proud going around to some of the schools because my buyers bought these bundles of books and donated it back to the school that they were in. And as I go, I see the reading essays on the wall and the projects that they did, and I was like, okay, so somebody start thinking that, it's imperative to get this going. And so we have to encourage not just it when it's World's Book Day, but all throughout. Reading is really your magical portal to another university, verse. And that's what we should tell children. It's not just, I want you to read, but that's another portal that would take you where you want to go. We must encourage children to read, and we must let them know there are no excuses for not reading a book. Once you can read, the power is in your hand to do whatever you want with the knowledge. As educators, we must develop the strategies for developing reading culture. That means introduce children to reading very early in their lives. Develop reading contests and to establish libraries in their classrooms and training of the teachers who will teach the children how to read. We have to encourage all of these things in order to make a start. What are the benefits of reading? Increase in memory. Reading slows down the rate of memory deterioration. Do they know that? Do they know that when you read a book, it helps slow down? So your mind don't have to be wasted. Discipline. Reading makes an individual to be disciplined by obeying certain rules and standards. It helps control one's thought, emotion, and action. Reading helps with vocabulary. It's another benefit of reading. It improves speaking skills and makes you a better speaker. Reading improves your vocabulary. Do we tell children this? Creativity and skill. Reading can make one think creatively. The reader will have good creative thinking skills, which would lead to better performance in his or her academics. So we need to encourage reading. We need a program that sets the standard. And I wish that the education department would come up with something to bring it back to life, because teachers are complaining, schools are complaining. So what do we do as educators? We have to find that common ground and see where we start. You know, my sister Marilyn and I were talking yesterday about it, and we were talking of collaborating and doing poetry workshops and stuff. In a few years, 2 years, I'll retire. I would be back home. I can volunteer my time. And so we would collaborate with things like this. How do we give back? And this is part of my story. Thank you.
To remain at the podium, yes. And I now ask the audience, please, if you have any questions for Mrs. Karen Charles de Freitas.
Yes.
So you mentioned that certain things that need to be done to mitigate the lack of reading with the children. However, I have a comment to make. I went to Union Island Secondary School. That was the first challenge in my life. Being a highly academic person, my mother decided not to send me to the mainland, so I went to Union Island Secondary School. However, I was taught by one of the best English teachers in St. Vincent and Greenwich, which is Dr. Godwin James. But when we take the skilled teachers out of the classroom and put them to do managerial work, this is where we have an issue. Because I have seen the decline in the English CXC pass rate, and it's very, very concerning. Simple things, because I have a daughter that goes to convent, and when I look at the curriculum and the things that they do, I went to Union Island Secondary School, and Mr. Godwin James, he ensured that we had to know certain things by a certain age, and his vocabulary was very top tier. Some of the words he would have used, and I'm asking my daughter, who at that time, she was older than me, and she don't know the meaning of these things. And we have to be careful who we put in the classroom. I mean, persons can learn, but at certain level of education, you have to be careful because they are going to do external exams. So I think that is one of the factors as well.
So I can't speak to what's going on here in the system, but I understand what you're saying, because if I'm not trained to do something, I can't do it.
Exactly.
And also, this thought just run, to whom much is given, much is required.
Yes.
And so we need to invest in our teachers, whether we have to send them on stringent training,
Exactly.
to do reading, labs, you know, whatever we need to do, we need to find that, what it is that would
Yes.
bring it back. And so that's
Yes.
something that the voices of parents are very powerful.
Yeah.
And maybe enough parents are not talking about it. Maybe, someone shared this evening that her niece came to the house and the niece was reading all through the book, and the mother said she could read and she was like, really? But she realized that the child was doing rote learning. She was so familiar with the book that she knew all the words and where they
Right.
were. So when she took them out of context and put them other places, she said this child could not read. She was doing rote learning, and sometimes that's what happens in the school. I remember when I was in Teachers College, I did my thesis on two of the reading dynamics, and at that time I found that they were very helpful. It was the phonics, and I don't know if it's still a part of the system, but I remember using that in the school where I taught for many years. And these kids went into kindergarten at 5 years old reading chapter books because I taught them how I knew. And so maybe they need to find ways of counteracting this delinquency in reading. Maybe that's what it takes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, let me say congratulations to Karen.
Thank you,
And to
Mary.
say that we became friends when she wrote that masterpiece poem on the volcano.
Okay.
And we've been in touch since then. And I want to thank her for wanting to join me on Saturday. I had what I call poetry playground, children from all over and children of different ages. Well, I'll say no more about that. Next thing you would hear when Karen is leading my poetry playground, okay? So let's I will keep
forward
you
to that.
posted. So I want to mention 3 points only and very quickly. Minister Velox, during the budget discussions in Parliament, showed her determination to do something with reading. Of course, I immediately contacted her and volunteered my services. So I don't want to get political, but I just want to say that it is very heartening to know that at least one minister in the Parliament brought up
Has something
reading.
at heart.
Okay. And the second point is I've always felt reading, yes, but my main point is to get families
Involved.
together with the reading,
Yes.
which is why at one point I wanted very much to get the so-called the haves. We have the haves, we have the have-nots, everywhere in the world, every Caribbean island. We want to get the haves to contribute to the have-nots, so that when I have the poetry playground, which of course is free and will always be free, there's no money involved, but there are certain expenses and certain ways in which it could be more beneficial to the participants if there were more resources. So the haves can sponsor a family to come to the poetry playground. Not sponsor one child or two children, but the family. You know, say a family from Fancy, from Union Island, you know, pay for them to come up and so on. So that is the second point. And the third point is that the new government has spoken a lot about the diaspora, making the expensive representation in foreign countries work more for the people. And I welcome that. And I want to say that working with the diaspora is not to be thought of, well, if somebody who's a Vincentian living away who save up a lot of money, could come and bring it in and invest in something. Yes, we welcome that, but we also welcome participation, as Karen said, upon her retirement. What are all these hundreds of other men and women who are planning to retire and come back? What are they focusing on? Let them be meaningful about it and start planning how they can contribute to the community. I'll leave it there because I think, you know, I've stirred your imagination and I've worked you up, and you would probably be soon calling me to tell me all of the things that you're thinking could be plugged into my ideas. So thank you, and to the minister, I wish him well.
Thank you. Thank you, Marilyn.
Yes, pleasant good afternoon to everyone. I'm Beverly Richards. I'm sorry I did not get here on time to participate and hear what the good lady Natisha had to say, you know, but I'll speak on her after. However, it's really enlightening to know that we are asking especially students to read. And as you said, reading is only done when there is an exam to pass. I have that at my home. I have two little girls that I have legal guardian of, and they will go to have their phones. And I will say to them, sometimes I don't like them to be on the phone, but because that's what they want to do, I'll say, put their stuff on the television and put the caption so the words will come up. So they will always be distracted, so they have to read while they listen. You know, because it is important that the children read. The conversation today, the language that they use, sometimes I ask, do you know that word? How do you spell that word? You know, and you have to keep asking them to do it properly because it is, when they finish at school, they walk out and everything is left there in the classroom. And the phone, the internet, even TikTok, as my dear daughter here said, that it is something we can learn from. That is captivating their life, because even though it is there, what they are looking for on TikTok is different than what we are asking them to do here. So it's a challenge. It's going to be a challenge, but all will not be lost. I have, I'm from Otley Hall area, and I've seen the children, and I've seen, you know, where they need help. And I started a program where I did a reading program. I carried it on for 3 weeks. Each Saturday evening, I carried on for 3 weeks. And the evening, I did not have a snack to give the children. They did not turn up the next evening. You know, but it's very important for their development, and they need to know that they can be creative, they can be very good people. You know, it helps them to remove from crime and violence and to be good citizens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Because you heard me say, you need resources. So.
Thank you again. So I make my final intervention before I go to my major constituency event tonight. I want to. I'm not surprised by the work of Karen Charles. As she told you, when I went into the Greg's Government School as a young teacher, Karen was one of the senior teachers there who held my hands and ensured that I was being probably the best teacher that I could have been. But I always was enthused about listening to Karen teach. At one point, I think my class was pretty close to hers, right? And so I was on that side, and I would hear the diction, and I would hear the pronunciation, and I was I don't want to say this publicly. I know I'm on radio. But I compared her to other teachers who were at that facility. I believe, if my recollection is good enough, that the other person on staff who had some similarity in terms of that particular standard was one that we call Elka, Simmons or Brown. So Karen was always outstanding, and I'm not surprised that she has gone this far and produced this lot. And I agree, we have to, as parents, find, as busy as we are, we have to find time for the kids in their home environment. I have a little 5-year-old, and I keep listening to him. He's in grade K, and he is interested in reading, so that's the good thing. His word attacking skills, he's developing that. Just this morning, there was an advertisement on the TV, the Noom advertisement, that green powder. And the ad is not very long, so the word is on the screen for but a short time, almost like a flash, and he was like, Nom? He didn't get the second O in between, but you can see him doing the word songs. And in that flash of that second, he could tell you it's nom as opposed to noom. But I felt that he got 75% on that word attack. But we have to continue to encourage our children. And sometimes we think that the kids are watching things that, to us, the adults, it's nonsense, but trust me, it's not always nonsense. When my 4-year-old son is telling me, "Oh, Daddy, can you hear that? Can you hear the exhaust?" I'm like, "What do you know about exhaust, child?" But guess what? That little child who spent quite a bit of time watching Blippi was able to take some learning from Blippi and transfer it to his real life. So let us not think that the TikToks and sometimes the other things that they're watching, we just have to guide so that we have a pretty good idea as to what is it that they are watching. I hear the, what's called the playground?
Yes, the poetry playground.
Poetry playground. Poetry playground. I can't help, I don't know about the haves and the have-nots, but ever so often, the have-nots are regarded as haves. But it is our duty, if we have a proper reading society in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as one of the things that, because we read so little and the gadgets play an important role in it, we can't hide that. Even now, the writing is being compromised because there is the advent of AI. So we have the challenges. They create opportunities, but they also create threats. And we have to, as a nation, as a country, as a people, we have to ensure that we guide our future generation how to recognize the threat and avoid them, how to recognize the opportunities and grab them as best as they can. Because my friend said, Miss White Ballantyne, said she was able to use social media to help her in cover design and so forth and so on. So it's not all bad, and it's how we provide guidance to our children. One of the topical issues in St. Vincent and the Grenadines now, and this is not my intention either to politicize your event, is the question of status and citizenship. But if you read 3 simple sections in our Constitution, section 25, 26, and 27, you can go and read it and resolve all the questions that are being asked in your own mind. The point is, because we, as a society, we have not been reading as much as we should have. Ever so often, we find ourselves repeating that which others have said as being the gospel. And we become the advocates of those sometimes incorrect position because we ourselves have not been reading, and we believe that those have read understand as they should have. So I want to encourage all of us to take the benefits of reading as espoused by my dear friend Karen. I cannot say that I am this avid reader either. Let me say that softly. Some of us read for purpose, so that in my practice as a lawyer, you have a legal concept that comes up in a case that you're doing, and you are duty bound to read around that concept. You have to read cases that were determined by a previous court to see whether or not your line of argument is going to be proper or improper. And now, as an active politician, you have to find yourself reading a number of protocols and treaties to make sure that the policy directions of your government is in tandem with what international standards are. And so you are reading because you are required to read. Yeah. So some of us do that. Some of us read because we just love reading. My parents were dirty poor. They couldn't afford us food, much less to storybooks. So you have to make a big breakout to get to that place where I hear people sometimes refer to my own speaking, but it is a long, hard grinding at what you do to come to that place of perfection, so that when Karen becomes what prize you want to win again, Karen? That's right, the Pulitzer Prize. Then you know that she has worked hard on it. The truth is, with 9 of us in a 1-bedroom house, you can't be thinking about buying any storybook for reading. You had to grab that later down based on what was happening in the school system. And I trust that we'll continue to inspire our children. Those of you who are writing, keep writing. Your journey has started, mine has not yet. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Minister Bruce. I have a question for you, Karen. In terms of publishing, we do get that question sometimes. Persons may call a site requesting guidance in terms of how do I go about selecting a publisher? What are some of the things I should look out for? Just any tips, and we're not able to offer that guidance, not yet. So do you have any tips for us in terms of publishing, selecting a publisher perhaps, the process, anything at all?
They say
Thank you.
Money makes money. And so my first book, this was published by one of the great publishing houses, Author's House, and I just invested a couple thousand in it because, I wanted something that was good for the first time. And so this one, I invested quite a bit in it. They did the editing. I had my personal illustrator who did the back cover. And so that one, for this series of books, a friend of mine who is the daughter of well-known Vincentian journalist Kenton Kirby has a publishing company. And so she was the person who edited this book and did one of the reviews on it. And so I wanted something local. She saw my work and she knew that she could represent. And so I invested in her company, and she pretty much 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, we were on the phone. I said, Queen K, go to bed. And she was like, no, look at the sentence. I changed around a few things. And so she would do whatever she needed to do and send it back to me. So that was easy. She did everything. And then there is a company that she's linked to do the final publishing. So that was easy. For those who don't have that kind of person, Amazon is a good try, so you can do it, but just know that most of your royalties go there. If you're about the money, most of your royalties go to Amazon. But if you can find somebody local and do your book that way, then, it's a better deal. She has been holding expos, small business expos, where my books are featured, pop-up shops and stuff, so you can consider whether you want to invest, just for the sake of having something good, or. Yes, Marilyn.
Hello.
Okay.
Yes, just a quick reply to Minister Bruce. he wouldn't know that I have followed him all along with Jomo, and that I use him and Jomo as examples to the haves, to the children of the haves. How many times I told them, I said, you all need to hear the stories of Jomo and Mr. Bruce, who are in the community contributing.
Yes.
Look at the amount of opportunities you have financially before you, and you can't even keep your damn head in a book and accept the opportunities. I said, do you know Jomo and Bruce used to climb up in tree lunchtime and come down when they hear the bell ring? And they say the other children were there washing out their mouth because they ate lunch. And we used to go and wash out our mouth too, but we never eat lunch. And I won't say any more. You can follow it from that. But I also take the opportunity to offer to gift Mr. Bruce one of my books. I just published a new book, March 1. And of course, it's on the Amazon. But I'm hoping to get a shipment. And I would please him when I make the final remark. It has a law section, because I qualified as a barrister at law in London as well. So you might not have to read it to pursue one of your cases, but I know you would be an avid reader of my book. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so thank you to both Nashida and Karen. And just after this, before we wrap up, just after this segment, we're going to go into the book signing. I just wish to highlight that tomorrow on our program, our 7th edition of our Literary Fair and Performing Arts Festival, tomorrow we have the Children's Village, which opens at 10 a.m., featuring national writing competition winners and a talent showcase from our schools. And I just wish to highlight the participating schools: Barley Government, C.W. Prescott, Dorsetshire Hill Government, Kingston Anglican School, Kingston Preparatory, Lodge Village Government, St. Mary's Roman Catholic, St. Joseph's Convent Marquardt, Dr. J.P. Eustace Memorial Secondary School, Bible Methodist Primary. I think that's all of them. Those are the schools. So in terms of writing, the talent showcase is going to be a fun day. It will happen downstairs in our library, and the library is beautifully decorated. And we thank, well, Karen, you would have seen it. The sheet would have to take you down. It would have been beautifully decorated, gifted to us, the decor. Mrs. Emma Jackson of EMS Creations. It has really brought the space to life. So that is tomorrow. And then following this book launching and book signing, we're going to go into our Evening of the Arts. So that's where we're going to feature song, poetry, dance, theatrical presentation, and I'm sure those of you sitting in the room, you're hearing the drumming outside. So it's going to be a packed program, and it is going to be led by the Director of Culture, Miss Maxine Brown. So if you can stick around after, please stick around. Minister Bruce, I know you said that you have to go. We have a jam-packed National Heroes and Heritage Month of activities. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, so yes, give a round of applause to everyone. So before we wrap up, we have on the program something called a big ask. So I'm going to challenge each author. And I remember when I taught persuasive writing in school, I would hold up a pen and say, "Sell me this pen." And that would give the students, I hoped, some sort of, how should I say, inspiration to use words to help to sell a pen, because this is something that they would use in the classroom. So if you're going to go and buy it, sell it to me. If I'm coming to buy it, sell it to me. So come, now is the opportunity to sell your book. Yeah, so the big ask. All right, so come one after the other, Nashida, followed by Karen, sell us your book. And any final words that you may have for us this evening.
Good afternoon again. for anybody thinking that they would not be able to make it in life, this book is basically like a manual. It gives tips, tricks, and all the good ways in which you could have a good life. It can be found at Games Bookstore. Hi, Mr. Games. That's it.
For those of you who are fathers or mothers, your little girl needs to twirl in her pretty dress. She needs to know that daddy loves her, that daddy was the one who sent that nice little dress so she can twirl, so he can look at her and say, there goes my fancy. She sees herself on every page. She hears her voice on every line. Fancy is pretty. Fancy is secure in who she is. Let your daughter know that she can dance in her pretty dress.
Okay, thank you very much to both authors. Thanks to all of our attendees. So this concludes this formal part of the book launch. So we're going to proceed to the back. We have the 2 tables set up for our authors. You will sit, persons can ask questions. If you're able to purchase the books, please, you're invited to do so as well. So thank you so much for joining us. And if you can stay on, please do.
And I'm so sorry. Usually, games, careers, my books are available there.
All right, thank you.